Christmas, yeah. I still haven't gone to a Christmas out there. But I usually like go ice skating and stuff with my sisters and stuff. Are you staying in Austin or? Yeah, I moved here to Austin 3 months ago, so I work here.
Okay. Nice. All right. Sure.
Hey, hi.
Hi.
My name's Leo. I am originally from UK, from Southeast London originally. What am I working on? I work on several things. So I'm a musician and I'm an artist. I run a company called tuneriver.com, who do personalised songs as gifts. I also perform as a solo artist and in a David Bowie tribute band. And I also do supply online marketing stuff, helping people out at websites and stuff like that. Yes, I do consider digital and Nomad. So in November, I handed in my notice on my rental, and so in the previous couple of years, I've been doing trusted house sitters, where you go around looking after people's pets in their home, and the demand for that has just been incredible. And I felt like I was paying rent and bills when I was hardly there, so now I've just started to do it full time. Favorite place, I've just spent a month in the Azores, which is kind of like it's Portuguese tiny islands in the middle of the Atlantic. That's pretty cool. Best place to travel during Christmas. I like the States, and I like Berlin in Germany. Yeah, I'm traveling. I'm here in Austin for Christmas. I'm back for a gig on New Year's Eve in the UK.
Yeah, I should just watched a video from Berlin Christmas markets that somebody posted on YouTube like 2 days ago.
Right, yeah, that's what's in my head when I kind of like say Berlin. It's just like, particularly this time of year, it's very,
really nice.
very Christmassy.
It is, yes. All right, start. Dave?
Hi, I'm Dave. I was born here. I moved away to Wyoming when Frost Tower had just been built. I've since moved back this May, so the explosion, you can imagine. But I came back to take a job as the marketing lead for an AI startup, which sounds so cliche, AI startup in Austin. But trying to figure out how to take my marketing skill set and just offer it from just me, not under the umbrella of another company. And I do consider myself pretty nomadic. Loved remote work ever since it became in vogue. Just wanted to open my computer and do what needs to be done from the coolest places. And one of my favorites has been Croatia, just for the ocean and for the food. During Christmas, Prague, another place with great Christmas markets. Or I am going back home to Wyoming and a big skier, so that's the other place I consider the best.
Nice, great, thank you. Yeah, next.
My name's John. I'm from here too. So I accidentally invented an app, and I'm kind of poking around because I'm not really from this world. So to answer kind of the next question, I am a nomad, and so I saw this. And I kind of discovered this by looking at meetups, because I tried like different ways online, and if you don't speak bro code and kind of paranoid, it was a disaster. I got accused of selling things, and I was just asking for advice. I kind of like to travel everywhere. I like to ski a lot too, which is cool for Christmas, minus the crowds.
Of course.
It's kind of interesting too to travel somewhere when it's Christmas and they don't celebrate Christmas, and it's like hot. It's different.
Australia?
Yeah. Things like that.
Celebrate Christmas?
No, I mean it's hot right now down there, but it's Christmas time.
Yeah, it's even weirder. And I'm just here right now visiting my family and things.
Yeah, I have looked at a lot of the Nomad meetups, right, around Austin. So before I did this, hey, you're here for Nomad?
Yeah, well,
Great.
I was going to something else and it doesn't start for a little bit, but I'm
Okay.
a digital nomad, so I thought I
Sure.
should join you
Yeah.
for a bit.
Do you mind signing in and then joining
Yeah.
us? Yeah, we're doing introductions right now and finding
Okay.
out the amazing places everybody's been and the great food they're eating. But I will tell you, so before I started this class, there was very few nomadic groups in Austin, right? After I started this, there was like 3 that popped up. What's crazy is their meetups are very much a come network and kind of work remote, right? There is no structure to those meetups. There is no kind of like, what I've done, right? Let me show you how to transition into the lifestyle. It's very much sit down, talk to somebody, hey, how did you do it, right? I try to provide you a framework so you understand like what it really takes to be successful in this sense, right? Because it is, for some people, not easy. And if you watch YouTube or just like, this is why I like stopped being a digital nomad, and the 5 reasons why I quit and went back home and got a job, and yeah, I dispel a lot of that stuff in this class. So, well, great. All right, next.
Hey guys, my name's Matt. I'm originally from New Jersey. I haven't lived there in a long time though. I moved to Chicago, then Denver, then here, then
All right.
Tampa. I landed back here a couple months ago.
All right.
I do consider myself a digital nomad. I quit my full-time job in March without much of a plan.
Congrats.
Thank you. I had a blast over the summer, just kind of roaming around the country. I do like freelance work for hedge funds and commodity trading firms, combination of like market analysis and
Right.
like marketing, customer facing, mostly writing. Favorite place I've traveled to might be recency bias, but I went to Glacier National Park over the summer.
Ah, it's a nice
Awesome.
place, yeah.
Yeah, spent a couple weeks there.
Okay.
Christmas, I go somewhere different every year it seems. I did Hawaii once, that was probably the
There you go.
best.
Yep.
I've seen enough white Christmases in my life where I don't really need it anymore.
With the white sand beaches.
Yeah.
So,
This year I'm going to Birmingham, so my
Okay.
brother was with his family. So.
awesome. Well, great. Thank you. Would you like to introduce yourself real quick, or?
Yes,
Sure.
my name's Eliza. I moved here from India, well, Thailand, but I was in India back and forth from LA. I love Austin. I host a couple local events, including Crypto Mondays.
Okay.
But I'm just a community builder and I like to travel, so, yeah. Montreal, DC, France, Dominican, I've been
Do you have
nowhere.
a favorite place you spent during Christmas?
During Christmas, I was just at my dad's in Woodstock, Vermont for Thanksgiving, and Christmas there is probably beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm gonna go with that one.
Okay. Awesome. All right, well, let's keep going. So here's some news that I found. The digital nomad economy, how remote work has sort of redefined employment. Obviously, you know, a lot of people have been laid off, and now people are really starting to embrace for working for themselves, right? So if you watch a lot of YouTube videos of like, hey, I just got laid off because of this, you'll notice that more videos on the side start recommending like remote work and how to build your own like portfolio and things like that. This is starting to come about just because more people they have a lot of time on their hands, right? The other one right there was, if you've never done the Nomad cruise, there is a cruise ship just for nomads, right? And you go on the cruise ship and basically it goes around different ports in the world. So they did, I believe, was it California to Sydney? And so they did that for about a month, and they discovered that they heard all this hype, is it really great, is it really glamorous, and they found out it was truly changing for their business, right? Getting off and docking in different ports around the world, not so much, right? Now to me, I don't see how that's possible because like I'm a very extroverted person. Like I will go into communities I don't know and I will go find friends, right? And I've read a lot of these nomad stories where they're very introverted, right? They will sit in a remote co-working space and kind of just work, right? And thinking that things are just gonna happen, you know? So they went on this nomad cruise and they met all these other nomads who basically learned like, hey, this is what I do as a nomad. I'm a drafting consultant, right? Like I do litigation work remotely, you know? There's another one that was an architect, right? So they love the experience. And if you've never tried it, at some point you should go definitely try a Nomad cruise. Think of it like an apartment on a ship, right? It's not a party ship, it's where there's conferences, workshops, talks. Almost everybody on the ship at some point gives a workshop about what they do, so other people can sort of learn, like, how do you do what you do, right? There's another guy, Luke Hummel. He basically built a quiet little seven-figure income empire by just discovering Forex affiliate marketing. And if you're familiar with Forex and all that kind of stuff, he discovered there was a market that was kind of open to affiliate marketing. So he kind of went in and said, hey, who else is doing this? And he discovered there wasn't too many players in that field. So he went in and started his own affiliate marketing firm for that kind of trading. So he thought it was pretty interesting. It's grown to 7 figures over a period of about 2 years or so. And it's worked, right? Because there's a lot of retail traders now. So, and then if you haven't heard, Slovenia launched a digital nomad visa, and it's been growing in popularity since. So a lot of people are starting to apply and then see what the requirements are like, right? So I was throwing a little humor because many people think this lifestyle is just glamorous, right? So like I said, as much as you're a digital nomad, sometimes your backpack or your suitcase is home, right? It's very hard to readjust to a big house and a big yard when your whole life has always been a suitcase. So, all right, so kind of how I structured this was just the first part was kind of inspiration and vision, right? Since this is sort of a compilation of the whole year's part, it can kind of seem overwhelming, so please ask questions as I go, right? And I don't have a problem diving into certain parts that you might say, hey, can we go on that in more detail, right? Again, a lot of this is for people who are aspiring, right? Like they want to live this lifestyle. There are those who are professional corporate workers, right? They don't know how to transition into this lifestyle. They're so used to routine, they're so used to every Friday they get a paycheck, right? So traveling, being nomadic can seem scary, right? So hopefully you can walk away with some tips. I do have a downloadable sheet for you later on to take home, so that way you can kind of like use some of the tools that I give you, and then maybe a clear action plan to help smooth out those bumps along the way, right? So if you haven't heard, right, more and more people are being nomadic. So we're expected to hit 1 billion nomads, by 2035. I probably feel it's going to be sooner, just because if you haven't been paying attention to how people use AI, it's getting to a point where you can build a lot of companies really fast using AI on your own. And the people that I pay attention to the most are those between 15 and 25, right? Those between 35 and 65, they're still getting their bearings with AI, right? Like it's the 15-year-old who uses AI so fast that they don't care if they're breaking stuff. They don't care because they just don't care, right? That 35-year-old, that 40-year-old who's using AI is a little more cautious because they're like, well, what if this happens? And a 17-year-old doesn't care, right? And yet they're the ones making millions, right, off of this stuff. So obviously, the lifestyle hack that we've all heard is work from a beach, in Bali, something like that. If you've ever been to Bali, now it's very crowded there, right? You have a lot of young people who run to Bali, right? They get their little scooters, they launch their yoga studios, and now they're a fitness instructor, right? So it's not what you think it is anymore, right? If you've ever watched the recent Nomad videos on YouTube, where like, hey, what do you do? What do you do? Everybody builds websites. So I'm not sure who's selling to who, but it must work, right? So they have to obviously find clients outside Bali to build websites for, because everybody builds websites there, right? Obviously the new frontier is now becoming the new cool thing is borderless work, right? Not necessarily like true, visa type deal. But for many people, it's how do you scale your freedom, right? How do you really get to what you want to do? I've covered a lot of that in like some of the classes, right? I went over one where if the goal is success, right, the $1 million like lifestyle and everything like that, then obviously you're trying to get to Dubai, London, places like that, right? if that's not where you're trying to get to, and you just want to live a comfortable life, right? Obviously, Eastern Europe, maybe something in Thailand, kind of like that kind of travel. It's very different, right? It's not expensive, it's not glamorous, but you know what? It's comfortable and it's nice. So, anybody have a favorite or place that they really would love to be able to, like, I've worked there before, kind of like thing, to say I've done it.
Somewhere Spanish speaking, I've always aspired to
Portugal?
become fluent.
Okay.
So like somewhere in Colombia would be cool.
Okay.
Or
Yeah.
South America.
Yeah, I have a lot of friends down there. They all do the co-working spots, and they tell me all the time, you should come down, enjoy the nice cheap food, and you know, the great nightlife and everything. And as you become more nomadic, right, you have more friends around the world that invite you places, right? You know, hey, come down here, I'll show you around, right? That's kind of, for me, that's awesome, right? Like I prefer that versus like I stay in a hotel, right? I don't want to stay in hotels, right? I want to go stay where the locals are. Like, hey, show me what's going on. A bullfight, let's go, right? So yeah, I mean, other people are like, I really want to know what Bangkok digital nomad lifestyle like, right? If you've ever watched the videos on YouTube of people who live in Bangkok, it's very easy to launch a business there, right? It's very quick. And the nomad communities there are very expensive, right? So, and many of them break off into groups and are like, hey, I'm going down to Australia, anybody want to come with me? Sure, yeah. A couple people break off, right? And they go.
You said the nomad community in Bangkok is expensive?
No, expansive.
Oh, expansive.
Yeah, right. Like there's a lot of different groups out there, right? You can find a group just for marketing, right? Like you can find a group just for social influencers, right?
Have you been there?
Mm-hmm.
So where would you find these groups?
So if you've ever looked at Nomad, like .com, right? They have a private like Slack group, and you can message like in Bangkok, you know, category, and just be like, hey, I'm gonna go over there. Any groups that I can join, right?
Nomad.com.
Yeah, Nomads. Well, it's nomads.com, right? And you go in there. If you pay, like, it's a lifetime membership, $99, right? And then you get into their Slack group, and it's all these nomads around the world, right? And just message whatever city you're heading to, and be like, hey, I'm gonna go here in 2 weeks. Anybody want to help me out, right? There's Telegram groups just for digital nomads, right? Like there's WhatsApp groups. There's a lot of things you can like start looking at. And so, they're gonna load again, hopefully. So you can find a lot of these groups out there. Yeah, there we go. Just because like it's expanding now, right? Like that's why I have a LinkedIn page, because I want to start showcasing like this whole group of people who are remote. If you've looked on LinkedIn just for remote work, right? There's groups for that. But you'll notice like it's a lot of like, hey, I did this over here. Don't go to this place. It's awful. They overcharged me and things like that, right? I try to showcase like, hey, this is the reality of nomad lifestyle, right? Don't think it's all glamour, nightlife, and everything like that. There's a lot of people who've done it. They've written about it, and they're just like, I will never do this again. I want a 9 to 5, right? So yeah, check WhatsApp, Telegram, right? Obviously, Facebook has tons of these groups out there, right? You can join. Some of them have like 16,000 members, 100,000 members. It's just a matter of like, where do you want your community to be, right? Facebook is very much a group that is geared towards 40 and above now, right? It's very hard to find anybody even under 25 on Facebook, right? So, so these are some of the myths that I've kind of covered before, right? It's obviously not, you're not in a hammock every day. If you are, you must really either be a trust fund baby or you're either that retail crypto trader, right? Doing the NFTs. So, Wi-Fi is everything to you, right? Like Wi-Fi is everything in your life, because you go somewhere and it's like, hey, what is the Wi-Fi here, right? In fact, on nomads.com, there is an actual Wi-Fi gauge, right? So you can go click on whatever place you're going to go to, and it tells you what the Wi-Fi strengths are like, right? Just because that's everything in your world. Like if you don't have a Wi-Fi signal, you're done, right? That's it. And then obviously people think being a nomad is just endless vacations, right? There was a comic that I put up one time where the humor was you're always landing in some tropical place, right? So by the third frame, the person's just already bored, like, okay, another tropical place, right? They get to another location, like, I need a vacation. Like, this is ridiculous. This is just too much, right? But the reality is, depending on your business, you're always working, right? And that's why you watch a lot of these videos of the burnouts, because they're always doing everything themselves, right? If you're a successful nomad, you have remote people working for you, right? Like you have people who are scaling your business and they're looking for new opportunities for you, right? If you don't have a personal assistant as a digital nomad, yes, it is hard, right? You're going to constantly be the one doing everything all the time, everywhere, right? If you have personal assistants who are your travel assistants, what are they doing, right? Hey, I'm gonna be covering this region for the next 6 months. Go find me all the discounts, the deals I need to do, get everything set up, send me a document, and let me review it, right? That helped a lot, right? So, and the other part is you need to be rich to start. Let me tell you, this is not true at all, right? In fact, I tell a lot of young people today under like 20, go travel, right? Like if you think college is more important than traveling, like you did not get the message, right? There's a video series that just came out like a couple of months ago called Free World Trips by Ruben. And it's two young guys who basically bust the myth of you need to be rich, right? They have no money, they're young guys, right? And they're like, no, we want to go everywhere in the world for free. We have no money, literally no money. And we want to accomplish it, right? So they launched like a 25 episode series on YouTube. And I can't tell you how inspiring it has been. I've sent that series to so many people around the world, and they've watched it because you see two guys who hustle to find opportunities that most people don't look for, right? When you land in a city, what do you think about? You think, well, I need a place to stay, right? So you look at Airbnbs or hotels, right? Them, on the other hand, they're like, no, we want to stay with people, right? They're very extroverted, right? So you realize that kindness gets you really far. Who here has read The Kindness Diaries or seen the TV show? Oh my gosh. So basically this guy was just like, can I travel the world on kindness? You know, from strangers. He hopped into a little moped that he found, and he went around saying, I'm going to see how far I can get on the kindness of strangers, right? And there were some nights that struggled, right? And other nights that were kind of like, you know, maybe this wasn't a good idea. But obviously the book was written, right? Obviously the Netflix show got shot, right? And it worked, right? So many people have watched that, and then they went and did it themselves, right? So you go on YouTube and you look up like Kindness Diaries, like, you know, and you see a lot of young people who've done that, right? But what is the difference between two young guys trying to travel the world and trying to do it by yourself?
Companionship.
It's a lot harder when it's just you, right? The world views you as, I don't know you, you look a little like iffy, right? But when it's two happy young guys that are just trying to like get around, right? They have a story, right? You'll notice in the comments of that series, that was the psychological part of why it worked, right? You'll also notice most of the women in the comments were crying about this, right? Because they realize they cannot do this, right? It's not something that you can do as a woman around the world everywhere, right? So many of these girls that were commenting are just like, I love your series, but there are places I cannot go in the world by myself, right? And it's true, right? Which is unfortunate. But for them though, what was amazing about the series, they highlighted all these entrepreneurs that were kind of working around the world, right? They went to Australia and they asked like, hey, we want to take a free trip on a plane, right? Like a small little commuter plane, right? So they show all these places they're calling and getting hung up on, rejected, no, this is money you have to pay, right? So one night they're walking around, right? They come up to a hangar and they see this guy cleaning a plane. I said, hey, I know you're busy, sorry to bother you and everything like that, but my friend and I were traveling the world for free. We want to know, hey, can we go on a ride with your company, right? And the guy kind of looks at them, and by the way, they're also with like 5 other people now. Like that's how popular they become, right? And the wife comes down, they're like, what is this, right? And the husband just like, well, they want to ride, you know? And the guys were just like, so we've tried all these other companies, they've turned us down, and if you say no, it's fine, it's okay, right? And he's like, yeah, sure, why not, right? Come back tomorrow morning, 9 a.m., we'll do a ride. And you know what they did in return? They made sure to highlight who that company was in the YouTube series, right? And because of that, their Google review page, 5-star reviews, right? All this stuff, right? Next time they go to Australia, they want to go fly with them, right? That's just,
Thank
thank
you,
you,
I
yeah.
put my contact, I wanna
Okay.
connect on LinkedIn too.
Okay, awesome, thank you.
Thank you so
Yes,
much.
thank you. Okay. Thank you. That's the power of social media, right? Like, those guys were just looking for an opportunity, but because they had kindness, now their business took off even more, right? Because you don't know who's watching your videos that will change your life. And that's why I push people to do social media, right? There's a new group I'll be starting next term for micro-influencers in Austin. I don't think people realize how powerful social media is. Like, we watch it every day, but then when you say, like, here, go do social media, it just goes right over your head, right? The opportunities of what social media does is what people forget, because you don't know who's watching you that can change your life, right? So just recently there was a group of 18-year-olds that I'm working with that basically I said, go do social media, right? Like, do what you're supposed to do. I gave them a guidebook. Here's everything you need to follow, right? So they went from like 30 followers to now they're almost averaging around like 3,000, 4,000 each, right? Is that impressive? Not too much, right? But to most people, if you were to sit in a room to give you perspective, would you want 1,000 people sitting and watching you? Most people would, right? Many of the people now are highlighting all their stats from social media right now, if you're on social media, right? One of the people today posted their Snapchat highlights. In 4 months, they got 207,000 new followers, right? Those are stadium-sized numbers, right? That's not on top of the other hundreds of thousands of followers they've already had, right? But because they were consistent, because they were posting every day, they have a full business, right? And they're only 17. They will never know what a 9-to-5 is. They will never know what a mortgage is. They will never know what it means to have to work, right? Because that's their job, right? But in Austin, micro-influencers is a huge business, right? And it is a lot of work to even get that. So what is a micro-influencer? It's anybody with less than like 50,000 subscribers, right? And guess what? There are many businesses that want to work with them. Why?
Because they're rich people.
What else? There's something else there. There are new faces, right? Everybody already knows Mr. Beast, right? We all know Mr. Beast. We don't know that influencer who has 10,000 and where they're going to be in 2 years, right? That's why they want to work with micro-influencers, right? There was a guy out there, he just posted a video, he's like 54 years old, right? He does woodworking, right? He just like, hey, I just do woodwork. Like, this isn't exciting, like, I just make woodworking parts, right? And he said, you know what, one day my friend told me, put a camera in your little garage and just film yourself. Just film yourself and time lapse it, right? And then just post it. And he did that consistently. And all of a sudden he went from like 10 followers, 100, to now he has over 100,000 followers, right? And he says, that makes me more money than my job actually does. Because these guys reach out asking questions about like, hey, I saw you doing that. What was the name of that tool you were using, right? Do you have any kits that you sell that I can purchase? You don't know who's watching you, right? That can change your life. So, why does freedom feel harder than it should, right? Like, as a nomad, you watch all these videos, you watch these, making stuff, and you're just like, I want that. Okay, I'll get on a plane, fine, right? You get to the beach, and all of a sudden you realize, man, this is hard. You find out getting a client is hard, right? And that's all because you don't have a team behind you. You're trying to do everything yourself, right? You're building your website, now you gotta post on social media, and now you gotta go network, and I gotta go to the gym and work out and stay healthy, otherwise what am I doing in Bali, right? And it just feels overwhelming. And that's why so many fail in Bali, because they're just like, I ran out of savings, I didn't get any clients, it was working, I gotta go back, right? There's no structure, there's no system in place, right? There are many people also who've gone to Bali and they will grind it out for like 2-3 weeks and they will come back with like 100 new clients, right? For those who have never heard, there's a story that I always tell. There was a podcast done here, right, about interviewing this guy from Australia. And he interviewed him and said, hey, what did you do to make sure your life was successful? He's like, well, when I was 18 years old, while all my friends were going out getting drunk and having fun and going to parties, I was hitting Gmail's limit every Friday night. What is Gmail's limit a day? It's 100. Right? Why was he worried about that?
Compounding.
Right, but what kind of compound?
Clients and opportunity.
Yes, you're right about opportunities. So who was he emailing? He's 18 years old, he has no skills, he has no education. You go on LinkedIn and look for everybody with an important title in their name. And email them and said, can I just have 15 minutes of your time to ask, how did you get to where you are? And what advice do you have for me as an engineer, right? How many do you think responded? A lot. If he had treated that like a cold email, how many do you think would have responded? None, right? When you try to sell people who are executives, they're not interested, right? But when you turn around and say, hey, I just want to know, who are you? How did you become so amazing? Oh, they will spend the day with you, right? So from 18 years old, all of a sudden his network went from knowing nobody of importance to now he knows so many people of importance. So what do you think that brought him 5 years later?
Opportunity.
Right. Speaking of opportunities, hey, I'm going to be at this event. Would you like to come? I can send you an invite. Right? So now he's in rooms that most people can only dream about being in. Not because he was trying to sell something, but because he just was generally interested. How did you become successful? Right? So he went from that to now he has this huge network around the world. Now he does public speaking. Now he's written a lot of books, right? And people forget, like, that's what people look for, you know? So when I meet people who are just like, my business isn't working, I started an AI company, we like sent out like 1,000 emails this week and nobody's responded, and I said, well, yeah, you're just trying to sell, right? You're just trying to push product. So that's why involved, yes.
Can I ask a question on this?
Sure.
Is there like a in between, or is that always the best approach? Because that's kind of what recently happened to me when I finished this. Is I would bring up what I'm doing, like, but genuinely, like, I just want people who are in this world to talk to me and even tell me, like, you know, am I missing something? And I immediately would get the feedback, like, stop selling, pitching me, and I'm like, so, like, any of that, you know what I mean? I tried to paint it like I need someone just to even answer one question, or
Sure.
But
Sure.
I got that kind of cold email response.
Right, and I would definitely say it's not about your product first, right? It's about, like, if you're reaching out to them, right? And if it's a client you're trying to get, find out what it is that you can give them first to open that door. I always say, send them something of value about how your app helps them. Don't charge them anything, don't say anything, like, hey, this is what I do, I'm showing you what it does, right? I would love to come do a lunch and learn if you're interested in a Zoom call. If they're local, I'll come by, give me 30 minutes with your people, I will show you what it does. If it doesn't work, thank you for your time, I appreciate it. Right? Many people forget how powerful lunch and learns are, right?
Is there like a public forum method to this as well?
Yeah, it's called TikTok.
But I mean, like, a way to, like, get people to reply to you and, like,
Yeah.
just the same kind of questions.
No, so on TikTok, it's not about, like, you're pushing product, it's like, let me show you, like, why this worked, right? You're trying to show the end result first as to what the value is, right? So let's say my app just collects raw data, right? It doesn't sound glamorous, right? It doesn't sound amazing. It collects raw data, and the value that I'm going to show you is that data right there. I'm going to show you, is what it can do for you, right? So this raw data I'm going to collect is all the traffic patterns in Austin every night at 8 p.m. Oh, I hope this works. So it shows, like, hey, if you're an event host, I'm going to show you where all the large amounts of traffic are throughout Austin at this time. As an event host, you want to know that. Why? Because now you want to know where to put your event on a Monday night with all this traffic patterns, right? To most people, it's just raw data, right? But now I made it look beautiful. All right, this is not good. Okay. You want to show the in value, right? Before that, if you just try to pitch your product like, hey, I just collect raw data, I tell stories, right? Nobody cares, right? Well, I need to message Elijah real quick. But the reason why I mentioned like TikTok and social media is because on there, when you tell a story, what can you do to increase your chances that somebody will respond back? If you're a marketer, you should know this. In your description box, you have a lead gen form. Hey, if you like this, can you give me feedback? Right? That feedback form, right, sends you a notice like, hey, somebody liked it, they actually took time to fill it out. Yes, they want to have a conversation, right? Like I said before, you have no idea who's watching you. And you have no idea who that person is that might change your life, right? If all of a sudden your video hits, let's say, 2,000 views, and you get a ROI of 10%, are you happy? In the social media world, 2,000 views is trash, right? But to you, 2,000 entries of people who generally want to have a conversation with you would make so many people happy, right? Because all of a sudden now you realize, man, if I get just 10% of 200 paying clients, I am very happy, right? And that's social media, right? When you put it out there, what does that video do for you every day? It's telling people you exist, right? So you have no idea who's searching for your stuff. That's going to pop up. You might be asleep at 2 in the morning, but somebody's watching your video and they might fill out your form, and every morning you wake up, 30 new entries, right? And as long as you're doing that diligently, posting stuff, you're reminding the world you exist, right? That's why social media is so important. So that might lead to somebody who's like, hey, I'm coming into Austin in 2 weeks, can we have a conversation, right? I saw what you did, you know. It's not glamorous, it still needs some work, but I think we can work together, right? I think you would be more happy to have that conversation versus going to people and just trying to pitch stuff, right? Before you even try to like tell them what you do, just find out what they do and be like, hey, like this is what I'm working on, do you have any feedback, right? Should I improve it, should I not improve it, is it working? What would you use it for, right? And all of a sudden you might realize like, man, this person does this every day. That one little piece of advice that was free just changed the whole direction of your company, right? And all because I said, hey, can I take you out for coffee?
Can I ask one more question on this?
Sure.
So like when I worked with companies, you know, NDAs and massive paranoia and all this before you exchange any kind of technology, how does this work in like the coding world? Because like for instance, if I got too detailed on this, I could get out coded in like a week.
It's actually an hour, but it's okay.
Or an hour, or you know what I mean, like.
So for me, the problem I have with NDAs now is that I can copy anything.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it. I'm just saying, how do y'all like? Is there like code, like a code that y'all don't copy each other, or like how?
It's more like a gentleman's NDA agreement, right? Like it's a trust factor of just like, hey, you know, I want to be able to trust that you share, that you understand, like you don't give it away, that it's between us, right? And that they take it seriously, right? But also keep in mind that, you know, I can go to any website now, just take your domain, give it to Claude Code, and be like, build me that.
Yeah.
Right? And many even vibe coders don't realize like what the world has turned into now, right? I don't even need to do that, right? I could just do a screen recording of what your app does from the demo, and be like, go build that for me, and just make it 10 times better, right?
Yeah.
That's the world we live in now, right? So if the world now is I can copy anything in a matter of minutes, what is business today then, right? Where is the value of business if apps can be replicated in minutes now, right? I would love to know the answer, because that's what a lot of people are dealing with right now. Is I've seen people who are just like, I love your idea, I'm gonna go have Claude take a look at it and then go make it better, right? And then I'm gonna go run a whole bunch of ads somewhere else in the world that you don't even know it exists, and I'll go get 10 new clients, right? And it has nothing to do with an NDA at that point, right? That's the crazy thing about code, right? So if it's code you're worried about, then We have repositories of code everywhere now, right? I can just go and build and pull and build
It's
whatever.
not even code, it's more of just the ideology behind it. You know, by like
It is,
revealing
sure.
what this does,
Right?
really everyone in this room would be like, oh, son of a bitch, I'm just gonna, okay.
Right.
You know, it's either like this guy is missing something, or if I actually figured this out, or like,
Right.
whatever, it's so simple, it's like, oh.
It is, yeah.
And with my lack of any of this, it can just be swooped out.
Yeah, so I get the list of all the VC deals in Austin, right? And I go through that list and I have AI basically just decompile it and be like, hey, how many of these are replicable real quick with code, right? And it's pretty much at an 80% rate, right? But these companies have like hundreds of $1 million of investment. And I said, if it's 80% of just copying their code and go making it better somewhere else, like where's the moat, right? Where's the, because again, I don't know who they are. I don't have an NDA with them. I don't have anything, and I can go take all that stuff real quick, right? But VCs in California know that too, so they're not dumb. So I would just say, like, if that's what you're worrying about, then look into, hey, I want feedback, right? Don't necessarily give away, you know, everything else. Just say, hey, can you give me an idea of like how to improve it, you know? So, framework and case studies. So, one of the things that I've learned is that whatever kind of work you do, right? Like your apps, you know, you do kind of like that software world, right? Other people do e-commerce, other people do courses, other people offer services, digital products, right? You need a system in place to run it, right? If you run a Shopify store and you're doing that yourself, you are going to burn out. Right? Shopify is a beast to run by yourself. Why? Because it's just you, right? It is just you and your store, right? So many people tell me like, oh, but I want to get on Amazon. Like that's where the money is, right? I'm like, yeah, sure. They're going to take your money. You may not see much, right? Because you have no idea who's watching your store that can copy it, right? But a Shopify store, it is literally just you and the internet, right? You have to run ads, you have to do something to get your store out there in public for people to pay attention to, right? And that's why people love TikTok shops, right? If you can get your videos to get 1,000, 2,000, 10,000 views, and all of a sudden you have a very trending product, man, your TikTok shop will take off. And that's why people love it, right? Now, do TikTok shops have a great reputation for quality products? No. It'll make you rich if you're really good at marketing, right? But no, right? Because many of these stores will disappear within a couple of weeks or so, right? Because they're on to the next trending thing, right? So it all depends on what you sell, right? But having a good framework for these categories, right? E-commerce, again, Shopify, WooCommerce, Amazon FBA, you need systems behind that. Otherwise, you're not going to survive. For some strange reason, when I was talking about e-commerce with AI in my solopreneur class, right? We now have sites that are dynamic based off of like trending terms, right? So I may look at your website and he may look at your website, but we see two different things, right? Because AI is adjusting your website based on what I searched, right? That's dynamic website building now, right? Because AI will adjust to who your profile is versus my profile. Is that new? Not really, right? Like that's been around for about 2 years. But it just means selling online is getting harder, right? Because now it becomes very personalized, right? And that's why, if you've seen the news about OpenAI integrating shopping with AI, I'm not a fan of that, right? But now you're going to see all kinds of stuff getting pushed to you, and you're just like, why is there a product in my answer here? And then you're going to be like, how do I get my product there? And then you find out, oh, everybody else is trying to answer the same thing, right? So again, you will need a VA, right? As much as you want to say AI can do everything, right, you still need a human person in the loop to sort of push AI to help you kind of build this stuff, right? I've seen people who have put so much faith and hope into AI agents, and then they fall apart, right? They do need a lot of training, yeah. So branding tools, marketing tools, right? If you haven't looked at some of the new marketing tools with AI, they're very different, right? If you've noticed like how Google search has sort of just kind of dropped off, and how much people are just using AI for almost everything and anything, right? You're seeing like, well, how do I get to that marketing, right? What does that look like? And what is that gonna cost me, right? So again, Google's, obviously working with that and taking a lot more money because people are thinking if I just ramp up my budget, right, it'll just show up in, OpenAI results, right? Not really, right? You're learning that if you want anything to show up inside ChatGPT, you either need to have a very good blog that has a lot of traction, you must have a really good presence on Reddit or something, you must have great reach on your LinkedIn profiles and everything, because that's what AI is looking at, right? When I went through a whole series of what it takes to get in AI search results, you are having to put a lot of information online to even get your company or your product mentioned. Because that's what AI needs. It needs a lot of data, right? And if you're one of those people that was like, well, I don't post online. Well, that's good, because AI will never know who you are, and it will never promote your products, and it will never talk about you, right? And then all of a sudden people figure whoa, I still need to sell, right? So that's where automation tools come in, like Notion, Airtable, Zapier, N8N, and then Make.com, right? If you've never done Make.com Academy and you're wondering what is automation and how do I get a hold of this, go take it, go get certified. It's completely free, right? If you can pass all that, you're at least giving yourself that edge still before everything is done by AI, right?
You say Meg?
Make.com.
Make?
Yeah, Make.com. So if you look up just search Make Academy right now, and you'll see that the entire program is free, right? You can get certified. There's 3 levels for your certification. And if you can complete those, congratulations, you're still ahead of a lot of people, right? Because I have pushed that program many times to people, and they can barely get past the second, right? It is a lot of stuff that you have to do, right? It is very time consuming, but it is definitely worth it, right? Because you can then build any kind of system that you want, right? And you can connect that with Zapier, or you can connect that to Notion. And once you learn how to do that, man, your life changes tremendously. There was a guy that Brett Malowski was interviewing. Was it Brett, or was it? No, Liam Oakley was interviewing this guy. He just started doing Make.com automations, right? So he created a Substack newsletter. And he was like, okay, this article I'm gonna talk about how I built this workflow for this type of business. And all of a sudden his newsletter started getting attraction, right? Companies, manufacturing firms were reading his newsletters, and he was just like, what's going on here? Why are they reading it? This is just a workflow, right? Well, guess what his newsletter turned into? A lead gen magnet. All these companies were just like, that workflow that you built, that's what we're struggling with right now. Can we have a call with you, right? He already had a 9 to 5. He was just playing around with this stuff because he loved automation. So then all of a sudden he's just like, another person reached out, can we have a meeting with you? And he's like, hey, that article you wrote, can you help us build that? We're having trouble with this part that you were talking about. So jump ahead 6-7 months later, he's making $160,000 off of the newsletter. He wasn't expecting that. He was not expecting that, right? Because he had a job, he just loves making workflows. But all of a sudden he discovered with his newsletter that there are a lot of companies out there struggling with building this and integrating it into their systems, right? And that's what he was good at doing, right? So he was meeting all kinds of businesses around the world just because he wrote about what he was doing. So if the message is not clear, do social media, right? Go to your grave with $100,000 at least, So the 5 stages of scaling, right? 1, make sure you have a very clear niche and mindset of what it is you're trying to accomplish, right? If you're a nomad, it's like, hey, look, I build companies based off of training products. That is your mindset, right? That's what I do. Be very good at that, right? There are many people I know who base their entire business off of training products, and they go in and they have special tools to tell them, hey, this week, these are all the training products. Cool. I'm gonna build websites towards these training products, right? So they clear 5, 6, 7 figures a week. That's their job, right? Because they've learned how to build a system around that, right? So again, you automate that, right? Your virtual assistant is the reason why you can do that kind of business, right? They're going into the store, Alibaba, AliExpress, whatever other stores you look at, and they're saying, hey, I need you to send me a list of all the training products. Tell me what I need to do, all that stuff, right? So what do they do with that list, if you're really good at this? They send it to the guy who does Shopify. Hey, these are all the training products. I need you to go update the sites. Go buy the domains, build everything out, put the products in, list them, and then what does he do?
Sends the Shopify over?
Nope.
Or plugin?
Nope. Shopify is just a store, remember. It just sits there on the internet.
Yeah.
So what do you need now?
Marketing.
Now you need ads to tell people to go to your store, right? So when he's done doing all that stuff, he sends a notice to like this SEO guy. It's like, hey, I need you to go push it out there, right? Okay, now go do your job, right? This is all set up as a workflow, right? So that way it all works together. And there are many people who've used Make and Zapier and everything to kind of build that out themselves, right? Is it a big process? Absolutely. Is it a headache to deal with? Absolutely, right? Does it make money? Absolutely. That's why they deal with the headaches, right? So that's what you do, right? If you're a lawyer who does just like contract review, right, that's your job, right? So you have a very nice website that does very good SEO, that does contract reviews for, you know, mid-sized to large corporations. That's your job, right? You can do that anywhere in the world as a lawyer, right? If you're a safety inspector and you have your license for, let's say, 50 countries, you can go do that remote work anywhere, right? Go pick up all these contracts as a safety inspector. Any questions so far? Because I know I'm touching on to a lot of different things now, and this is the part where most people are like, okay.
I'm really interested in the automation. I know I need to do more of that. You mentioned handouts.
Yep. Yeah, we'll get to that part. Yeah, you'll have a QR code to scan to download everything.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Great.
But if there's anything to leave with, one, build your audience. Two, get on Make Academy and start taking your program. If tonight you can get to your first certificate, I will be very proud of you, right? Do you know who takes this stuff even more seriously? It's the high school kids I tell when I talk to them about digital nomad lifestyle. I say, go learn Make, right? They love Make. As soon as they discover what that is, most of them complete all 3 certificates, right? And then what do they turn around and do?
Stop doing stuff.
No, I run an automation agency. What are you talking about? Hey, I can build your automation sheet. It's $1,000, right? That 16-year-old now has an automation agency, right? So, because it's very valuable, right? Is it a saturated market? Absolutely, but that's okay. So again, one, you need growth, right? So your audience that you're building online helps build that, right? So you have a clear pipeline of attention. You have a clear pipeline of people who are aware of you, right? You're posting on TikTok, your SEO is doing really good, you have your LinkedIn that's going really good. So now all of a sudden you have reach, right? So now you're having people contact you to have conversations. Like, hey, I love that video you did about this. Can you tell me more about it? I'll be in Austin next week. I'd love to meet up, right? So that also builds your authority, right? Like if I can say that I have 1,000 people on my newsletter, or I have 100,000 people following me on LinkedIn, the crazy thing is we all assume you must be an absolute expert if that's how many people are watching you, right? This is why when you go to YouTube, you're like, man, you have 2 million people following you, right? This is why YouTube is very particular about getting rid of bot accounts, right? So it can show the true number, right? Instagram did that, right? I don't know if y'all saw that whole thing that happened one time where they kind of like did a sweep of bot accounts, and all of a sudden people who had millions of followers all of a sudden went down to like 200,000, right? And they're like, oh, I gotta shut this off. This is embarrassing, right? But it builds authority, right? Because all of a sudden, if you realize you have stadium-sized numbers watching you every day, and you post something, there's a reason why people make a lot of money posting, right? If you've ever watched the stories of people who like get these PR packages and they show up out of nowhere, right? They didn't request them. They're like, hey, show this. Why are they doing that? Should be a simple answer.
Reach.
It's reach.
Right.
But what exactly is it doing besides the reach? Why did the brand send them that PR package?
It's advertising.
It's advertising, right? Because when they show on their story that they got a package coming in, that brand is associated to that influencer, right? And that influencer is thinking that like, oh man, they're showing all the stuff that they got. Guess what's going to happen to that audience watching? I'm going to go check out that story, and I'm gonna go see what they have, right? I like that shirt, I like those shorts, and they might get purchases from that, right? Do you know why that's important? Because that company now didn't have to run ads to get those eyeballs, right? That package probably cost them $100 to send them that, right? But the return value, right? So,
It's kind of like targeted ads too,
right?
like even better.
Absolutely, right? Because again, you know, that influencer who's in his 50s is going to have very different PR packaging versus the influencer who's in their 20s, right? So, and they're very particular about that, right? So, but again, that's where this all builds together, right? You have your growth, you have your authority that you're building, right? And now that integrates into your lifestyle, right? Now I can travel more, I can go places, people know me, doors open up faster, right? I'm not having to struggle with trying to get people to have a meeting with me. They've seen my videos, they've seen what I've been doing. The world is very different at that point, right? So now because of that, you have travel logistics to deal with, insurance, visas, balancing work life and everything. This is why rich people have teams of people they delegate to, right? As I always say, Bill Gates probably has no clue how to book a hotel ticket. Why? Because he has an assistant for that, right? He has no idea what it means to get on a plane because he has an assistant to do all that for him, right? This is why it's important to have an assistant, you know? If you have just one personal assistant in your life changes very fast, right? Hey, I need you to go find me every business in Austin that I should talk to this week, right? And go put it in a Excel spreadsheet, and then put an email address, and then tell me how many people respond back, right? For most people, that would probably change their life, right? Just having that ability to do that, right? So if you could have one little thing tomorrow that could help change your business, what would it be? And you don't have to raise your hand, just throw it out there.
Yes, and a personal assistant.
Automation.
Automation, right? Some people would say, I want 1 million followers, right? It all depends on where your business level is at, right? If you want an assistant because you've established like, hey, I know what my routine looks like, right? If it's, I want automation because I need to get this, you know, really locked down, that's what you want, right? There are automations now that build apps like it's nothing, right? Hey, I need you to go find the trending things, go build an app to that, right? Cloud can do that now, right? Do you need to hire 50 developers to do that? No. Right? It's a very different world we live in now, right? In fact, there was a guy that I was watching on Indie Hackers where he talked about how he had an engineering mindset of, I need to make it perfect. I need to polish it, I need to add more features. And he found out that's what was messing him up. So he watched a video by Adam Lovett, I believe it was, who basically said, build an app portfolio, stop building apps. So he said, build simple apps that do one thing very well, right? So pretty soon he got to 30 apps that he built out. And they just do one thing really well. They don't have a lot of bells and whistles. And he was able to scale that store to around, I think he said 28,000 a month, right? Most people would love that kind of income, right? The problem with that store is that most developers, that's too low. They're trying to get to 100K a month, right? So they look for things now that are trending that they can build towards. So when that builds towards it, right, now I can run automation that kind of just runs simple Facebook ads, some Google ads to get some traction, right? If that app can bring in an extra 2,000, 3,000 a month on top of my other apps that I'm building, that's a pretty good story, right? So.
I'm curious where you go to look for a reputable digital assistant.
So, I can give you a ton of sites. What I've learned is that you need somebody to guide you because there's scams everywhere, right? You can go to Fiverr, you can go to People Per Hour, you can go to guru.com, you can go to Upworks, you can go to, what is the other one? There's a bigger, I'm forgetting it. There's one just for IT, I'm forgetting it. But basically, all these sites have a ton of virtual assistants, right? You can go in there and you'll discover most of them charge anywhere between $3 and $7 an hour, right? That's Starbucks money right there, right? What you're gonna find out is There's a reason why. Because the scams are really bad. If you don't know how to vet them and you don't know how to hire them correctly, you're gonna think that social media marketing person is amazing, and you're gonna give your socials to them and like, okay, go get me 100,000 followers. Any problems with that?
Yeah, you don't know the quality of the followers. It might be bots. It could be just garbage.
Anything else?
They don't need your social security number.
So the problem is you didn't give them any instructions. They have no idea who you are. They don't know what you're trying to accomplish, right? This is why so many people will turn around and say like, VAs, like this was awful experience. Like I wasted $5,000 and that VA did nothing, right? You did not give them a clear SOP. They have no idea of what your business really is. They don't know what your routine is. They don't know what it is you're trying to do. And I've seen so many Americans go and hire these VAs and then get real mad because like they built an app and all of a sudden I can't use it, right? In fact, I had a girl just the other week. This was a true story. This really happened. She went to a VA app development company in India and she paid like $5,000 and said, I want a mobile app. And they built the app. And what do you think could possibly go wrong?
Everything.
No, the app worked. It was great. It was fantastic. Except one little thing that she forgot to learn about app development. It wasn't designed for the Apple Store. And what made me mad was the fact that that agency thought it was okay to be like, oh, you didn't tell us you wanted it for the Apple Store. We just built it for the SDK part. Oh, that's an extra $5,000.
Gotcha.
There's another guy who didn't want to go through me, and he went to find an agency to build an app for him, ended up spending $15,000, came back to me and said, I took your class, you told me to get a VA, it would change my life, I spent $15,000, it was a waste of time. I was like, did you vet them? Did you give an SOP? And he was just pissed, right? And I said, well, because you didn't know what you were doing, that's your fault, right? I have nothing to do with that, right? You have to know what you're doing. You cannot expect an American to be like, yes, I know how to hire international people. Because I've seen profiles where they will say, I am $4 an hour. And then I will say, here's why they're not $4 an hour. And then you go look at every job they've done, and it shows a completely different pricing system, right? And I'm like, that's the scam, right? Because you didn't understand how this whole system works, right? And these people know that about Americans. Hold on, I'm just gonna reset this. Anyhow, so what I always say now is like you get a really good VA, you vet them, you give them a test job, you make sure you go through all the stuff with them, have very clear SOPs. Your SOP should be no less than 20 pages, right? It should take everything that you do on a daily basis and just condense that into a document. And now that we have AI, it can write your SOP real quick for you, right? And then you give that to the virtual assistant, and then they use AI to basically do their job even better, right? So, going further, right, e-commerce systems and actions, you should be able to learn or at least know how to run a Shopify store automatically, right? Like you should know how to use AI, Make, Zapier, whatever, to run an e-commerce store like it's automatic, right? That's a skill that I encourage a lot of teenagers to learn today because it's so valuable. Because everything we do now is you sell online. It doesn't matter if it's a physical product, if it's a service, you should know how to set up a Shopify store to sell anything. Right? Because when you're traveling, you should be able to launch stores like it's nothing, right? Like it's just simple.
To ask you a question, I kind of looked into it and not enough to like verify it, but with Shopify or Stripe, are you able to like have where like say someone buys something and it was on a website that you have like a sales team that's using, are you able to like have it automatically like take half the money, put it here, pay them out directly? Those
Yeah,
features
absolutely. Yeah,
exist and all
yeah.
that, right?
So once you have the payout and everything done afterwards, then yes, your accountant or CPA or you yourself can go in and basically automatically go through and be like, hey, every Friday I will pay you this much, right?
Oh, but it doesn't do it automatically.
You have to set that up.
Oh,
Right,
okay,
yeah, you're gonna have to set that up. But also remember, like Stripe is its own payment processing service, and Shopify has everything for payment processing, right? That's why a lot of people who run businesses solely through like an Instagram business page, they'll use Stripe, right? Or they'll use Venmo or like PayPal or whatever. And they'll use a link tree for that, so. They're very different, like it depends on what it is you're selling, right? Like I can go into Shopify and build an app portfolio store, right? And then basically a person can go and here, I'll purchase your app for $20,000, and then they basically will get a little file, and then that'll either connect them to a private store where they can download your app. Yeah, that's what some people do. For others who offer services, right? Basically, you're gonna go to the Shopify store and be like, hey, I'm gonna purchase that service. And it basically is actually a meeting note that gets put on that person's calendar. It's like, hey, this person just booked an hour with you, and it gets set up. You get the notification, they get the receipt, right? So. But again, yeah, that's how you're kind of scaling, right? Like you want to scale in the sense of like, if I'm traveling, I have a travel assistant. If I do e-commerce, I have an e-commerce assistant, right? If I have, let's say, services, right? I have a services virtual assistant, right? It all depends, And again, that's how you slowly start to scale. There are people I know who have like 20 virtual assistants, and they're all categorized into departments, right? So if we keep going further, right? Like you have your branding tools. Everyone should know Canva. Like if you're still paying for Photoshop and you're not using all its bells and whistles, or you have a very deep discount on Adobe, Canva is like your go-to for everything for branding, right? I don't know anybody that doesn't use Canva because it's just so simple for many people. In fact, now you can do Canva for websites, you can do Canva for videos, you can do Canva for social media, like app building. Canva is like covering everything now, right? They want to be sort of like that go-to all. And then, yeah, SEO tools. Again, I had to train some people on how to use AI for SEO now. And I said, like, look, just show me what SEO you want to use. Most people use Google. I say, go learn how to do SEO on AI now, right? It's very different, but at least learn it, see what it's like. Is it easy? No. It's not easy to rank inside ChatGPT. But yeah, you'll only get there if you're building an audience, right? You have content that's posted out there. And then, of course, we go further, right? Like you're scheduling your social media, you're putting your Notion tables together. You can connect them to an Airtable if you want. That pulls from a database. It all depends, right? You might have just a virtual assistant who just does all your social media posts. You have a 1-hour call with them every week, and you're like, hey, this is what I want to cover this week. And then they work on it, right? Any questions so far? I do want to include like some case studies so that way y'all can kind of see like, who's already doing it in case. Again, you will get this in the little downloadable sheet. So one, Alan Coughlin, e-commerce founder, right? Basically built a multi-million-dollar supply chain business. Leveraged e-commerce systems automations to scale globally, right? What do you forget about e-commerce? This is something I've learned about. People think like, I put up a Shopify store, I ran my ads, it's not working. What should you do with that?
You need to get the right people in to see it.
Okay. So let's say I run my ads, I throw $100 at Google Ads, right? And where is that $100 going to be focused on?
Well, Google at the moment have a tendency to throw it anywhere they can.
Yeah,
I
true.
You're like, what?
Yeah. So, and they have all the criteria set out, and you have to you have to be an expert to check things off, and sort of like, no, I don't want it shown on YouTube because that's not where the audience is, and things like that.
All right.
But now they're in AI. They've got one foot in AI, and they've got one foot in search. And they're thinking about having paid for their AI search.
Right.
But that's going to cannibalize their search
Yeah.
sales business. So I'm not even sure they know where they are themselves at the moment.
So let's say I sell fidget spinners, right?
Yeah.
Are fidget spinners popular here right now?
No.
I don't know. I would say they're probably for a select audience.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they're popular somewhere,
Yes.
right? How do I find that out?
AI.
Okay.
Google AI.
Alright. So Google has a trend, master keyword trending list, right? And so I can go into that list and I can find where in the world fidget spinners are currently trending, right? And what should I do with that? Run my ads in that location. Not here, not around the world. I want to specifically focus in that location where it's trending, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I want to run it for how long? And it's okay if you don't know the answer. The answer is based off of what has been the past 2 weeks of search trends for fidget spinners in that area, right? If you notice that for some reason every Tuesday it spikes, right? And you're like, why is it spiking on a Tuesday? What's going on, right? So you might go in and do a little more research and figure out like, what's happening for fidget spinners? And then you might find out, oh, there's a fidget spinner meetup on Tuesdays, right? So what should you really do with your ads?
Focus on Monday.
Monday and Tuesdays, right? Run your ads Mondays and Tuesdays in that geography, right? Don't focus on the world. Focus where it's trending, right? And that's what I've learned many people don't do with their social media and e-commerce. Yes?
So if you're using keywords, is it a safe assumption, like what if, or how do you confirm? So say like I did fidget spinners and every Tuesday I'm like, oh, and then it turns out the reason why is because it's a I hate fidget spinner group that I overlooked. And that's why they Google fidget. But I mean, how can you confirm, is there like a word like buy, or like, is there a shopping
so you can
keyword
go
search?
in and you can break down even further what's searching with those terms, right? What are people searching before that, and where is it going to, right?
Oh, okay.
Right, so you can see what sites they're landing on.
Oh, okay.
That
I
might
didn't
give
know
you
that.
more insight, right? It might be a news site, it might be just an e-commerce site, right?
And then you click on it and you can see what they're doing on it, or like.
Well, they could give a price for it,
right.
they give a price for that phrase, and then if it's
Oh, that's
competitive,
true too.
if it's competitive, they'll put the price up.
Yeah. So then, if I want to know what's happening to a website, and I want to know where traffic is coming from, what would I do? How would I do that? So there's a tool called SimilarWeb, right? SimilarWeb basically goes in and you can plug in a domain and it tells you where every traffic is coming from that site, right? What's currently popular on that site, what's currently being bought on that site, what's being clicked on. It's a wealth of information, right? It can give you a heat map for the site if you want it. So then you can go in and start finding out that, oh, this is what's really happening with fidget spinners, right? So now this traffic's all coming from here. So now I can even more hyper-focus my ads to this region, right? That's really what your SEO virtual assistant is doing, right? They're really good at their job. They know how to hyper-focus in very specific regions, right? When I was working with a team of SEO guys, they were just like, we do ads for personal injury lawyers, right? And they said, well, we want to do San Antonio. I said, cool, that's a very large city. What do you mean San Antonio, right? And they said, well, they want to target the ads when accidents are at their highest points, right? I was like, great, tell me when the accidents are at their highest point. Well, it's either when people are going to work or getting off of work, right? Rush hour, right? So I said, you can put your ads to run during certain time frames, and then you can go in and hyper-focus it around specific areas of San Antonio. And all of a sudden, it went from spending a ton of money to a large city to a very specific time frame at a very specific region, and all of a sudden their client list went up, right? And it worked, you know.
How many clients did they pick up from seeing ads while they were driving and then having an accident?
So they noticed that they're
right after.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, right? You're not really thinking about that, but that's what's happening, right? So they're searching for it, right? But it's trying to get the person to click, even though like you're supposed to be dealing with insurance at that point, right? So they found their click-through rate was like around 50–60%, right? Because they were still dealing with insurance. So what they did was they went back to the lawyer and said, hey, you need to redesign your site so that way it will go in and say, hey, follow up with us, right? Because what they were doing was on the side was book a call now. Well, they don't want the call now. They want to book a meeting later, right? So they learned that's what they need to do at their site. But that taught them that, right? You know? But that will tell you how you should also redesign your site when you're building this stuff, you know? This is why SEO in itself is a whole job, right? It's so complicated, and that's why it's a billion-dollar industry. So learning how to just kind of like deal with that, it's either do I want to go to school and learn SEO, or do I want to hire somebody who's already an expert in this stuff, right? And then just work with them on how to run your stuff, you know? So. Now, can you do SEO for social media?
Personally?
Yeah, absolutely. Like if I post a YouTube video and I want to make sure people are watching my stuff, I can run ads for my videos, right? I can run ads for my TikToks. I can run ads for all that stuff. That's what people do, right? That's to say this is what you want to do, right? If you have a review site for, let's say, tech products, hey, I reviewed this. I'm going to run ads for this product, and I'm going to go find out where people are searching it, right? Even though you live in Austin here, you can run ads anywhere in the world, right? And that's what you should be doing. You need to find where people are actually looking for your product, right? So you can bring them to where you're at. So, but again, that's why I also put in remote consultant for the next one. A lot of times people think to do this, you have to sell some physical product, right? Like you have to do something. There's a lot of consultants out there, right? And so they transition from corporate into consulting, right? They do coaching, mentorships, one-on-ones. That's huge business, right? That's huge business. And your expenses are so low, right? They're so low because it's just you and a conversation, right? And it's $1,500 an hour, you know? But they scaled that because they had VAs going around and running all this stuff around the world for them, right? So if they're going to be traveling a region and they want to do in-person meetings, what do you think you should do as a digital nomad? Run ads in those regions you're about to go visit, right? So that way people start booking your time before you get there, you know? Hey, come on in. But again, they're only able to do that because they have a clear framework of what they're trying to accomplish, right? That's why it works. So when you go home, if you don't have a dry erase board of your business laid out, or a digital whiteboard that kind of just shows the outline of how your business operates, go do that, right? It will change your life. And if you're not sure what to put on the whiteboard, what should you do? There you go. Right? Hey, this is what my business says, this is what I should do. Give me a standard structure of what a typical business looks like, right? And help me design that in a virtual, you know, whiteboard, which is like Miro or something, right? So the next one right here we have is a branding creator, right? Corporate professional, and they kind of go in and they travel around quite a bit, right? They have a global base. They use branding, storytelling, position yourself as a thought leader, and that authority attracts more clients, right? So if you keep posting and posting and doing all that stuff, you're going to end up getting clients, right? There's a video I showed in my other class about this guy who was like 67 years old, and his YouTube channel is how YouTube changed my life, right? Got millions of clicks, all this stuff. Who here is searching to watch 65-year-olds talk on YouTube? That's what I thought, right? But you know what happened? You know why he was so honest in that video and why he got so many views? Because he talked about how he went from nobody listened to me to now YouTube pays all my bills, right? And let me tell you how to do it yourself, right? He said, let me explain to you what your life is going to look like. You're going to get on Twitch, and your camera will be at 0 for the next 3 months, right? And it's going to depress the hell out of you, and you're going to think, this is a waste of my time, and you're going to stop. He said, that's where I messed up, and let me explain to you why you shouldn't, right? So he goes in and says, one day, it went from 10 viewers to 100 viewers, to all of a sudden it went to 1,000 viewers, right? He said, here's why people give up. the algorithm needs to know who you are, right? It needs to understand your content before it identifies your audience. If you're consistent and you're providing valuable information, the algorithm will do its job and bring you the eyeballs. So if it knows you get on every night on Twitch at 7 p.m. and you're doing that consistently for 3 months, what do you think is going to happen in month 3 to your numbers? It's going to skyrocket. Because now it knows you're going to be there, you've been there for the past 3 months, the algorithm can trust you now to be consistent, and your audience will show up. Right? That's why people give up. Because they're not consistent, because the algorithm cannot understand what you're doing. If you get on at 9 a.m. and all of a sudden you get on at 5 p.m. and then 10 p.m., guess what the algorithm is going to do? It's going to ignore you because it doesn't know what you're doing. Right? So again, visibility, right? Like you need good visibility, posting your content, putting your stuff out there. Even if you post 1 article on LinkedIn a week, even if you post 2 TikToks a week, right? Like you're slowly building your audience. The crazy thing about TikTok is how fast you can grow right now. Do you know what the new social media platform is that people are using now?
Sure. No idea. Is it LinkedIn?
No.
Lemonade?
Nope. Anybody want to try one more time? It's Sora. Sora. Right? Sora is the new platform for social media, right? So Sora is trying to compete with TikTok, right? I can go in, text a video prompt, and now I have a really cool, funny video, right? And now I have an audience. Why do you want to do that? Because nobody's on there right now, right? And if I can go build my audience right now, what do I do with those numbers? I shoot them over to YouTube. I shoot them over to TikTok, right? Because I need to spread that attention, right? And build my numbers. Go build your Sora account right now. It's brand new, right? And even though many people here didn't know Sora was a thing, you probably watched an AI video at some point in the past month, right? That was probably Sora. So,
How's that spelled?
S-O-R-A.
Right.
And if we have time, I will show you a couple Sora videos, right? The most popular ones right now are the parrots who are getting their shots, their booster shots, and they're talking to the doctors about how it hurts, you know, and they need to stop. Or the cats that are working at McDonald's and they're getting, you know, they're doing really good work, you know. Or the cats that are the flight attendants, and a lot of cat videos. A lot of cat videos, right? So. The one thing that I've noticed is how much people are not paying attention to this, because the other day I was talking to people at Download AI, and I said, have you been watching the videos of AI ruining movies, right? And the guy who was the programs director was just like, no, what is that, right? So I showed him how AI ruined Harry Potter. He got such a kick out of it, right? Like he's like, oh my God, that is hilarious, right? Because it was so well done, right? But today, the technology just looks so real, right? And to many people I showed this to, they were like, this is dangerous. I was like, oh, we're way past that. Dangerous, not a thing anymore, right? But again, as you start to build that, guess what also starts to happen is, when I look at your profile, what do I get to see? I get to see all the people following you, right? If I find out Mr. Beast is following you, you must be important, I'm gonna follow you, right? That builds your credibility, you know? So again, how hard is it to write a book today?
It's not.
It's not? And how many people have written a book in here?
Everyone.
Well,
Wait, whoa. One person rose their hand. You went like halfway, and then you're like, wait, is it published?
because it's more like illustrated.
Okay.
You know? So I made it like unique because I'm like,
You drew a book.
Still
yeah,
a book.
because I'm like more creative, like artistic. So.
But is it published, right? Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, then you're an author, right? Today, it's so easy to write a book, right? And I tell people, go do that, right? There is a video that I show people. It's a teenager who made this video like 2 years ago. He became a millionaire writing ebooks with AI. And he just basically sat down with AI and said, tell me a market that nobody's really publishing to. And he sat there for like a couple hours just going over and over and over, refining like what his research was. And he finally got to a very sweet spot that said, this is who your market is, go do this, right? And he followed that exact model it told him. So by month 7, he was a millionaire. And the reason why he was a millionaire was because the AI told him your market is women 50 and above that nobody's paying attention to, that nobody really writes anything to, and I want you to make your books between 30 and 60 pages and price them between $1.99 and $3.99. And that's exactly what he did. And he would push out like 20, 30 books a week with AI, right? Are these books huge? Are they time consuming? No. What were the books about? How to prevent injuries when gardening, right? How to do yoga, for people with leg issues, right? Very simple books. Who here would love to be a millionaire doing that? I think everybody would agree, yes. Right? Who is using AI to making money? And I've learned not many people are doing that, right?
But wouldn't the content be like less quality because they would be able to tell, or is it like that age bracket just doesn't, they don't think twice about it?
So the thing so when I do my social media class, right, I've learned like I have to delineate those 40 and above don't get social media. Those 25 and below get social media, they just don't want to do it. They know how much hard work it is, but they know that's what they need to be doing, right? The in-between part right there is the one that's just like, well, I kind of have a job, so I'm already making money, and I don't really need to do this, so I'm good, right? And then they find out, sorry, that's not how the world works, right? If you're not building an audience today, you're going to regret it 5, 10 years from now, right? But 50 and above, they just don't get social media. So when they go search on Amazon, like, oh, that book must have been written by an author and a publisher and vetted and all these things, and yeah, they don't get it, right? So,
this is so well written.
I know, right? And that was like what, ChatGPT 4.0 or something, right? Which we consider today like, oh, sorry, but again, there are students now who are making millions building apps with AI, and they're publishing like really fast, right? Because all it takes now is what? You build an app, and then what do you do next? It should come to you like right away.
Publish it.
Well, obviously, yes, but what else? You run your ads. Right? You run your ads. That's it. That's a very simple formula, right? You run your ads to find out, is the app working? If it's not working, what do? Take it down, fix it, run the ads again, right? Very simple iteration, So again, identifying emerging opportunities. That's what I teach people how to do with AI. It's like, go find what people are searching for that you have no idea they're searching for, right? Remember, AI can see data on the internet that you cannot. So if you pair that up with Google Trends and Web Similar and all these other like cool, amazing analytic tools, that's a very powerful mixture of this technology that you can make millions with, right? So what's the next level after apps?
Courses.
SaaS.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like SaaS is the next level, right? Courses is what you sell to build the SaaS and the apps, right? That's your foundation of knowledge, right? So like, hey, look, I launched a store that has 50 apps in it, this is what it is. Here's my course on how I did that, right? So that drives a flywheel to like, you're making more apps now, right? And again, that's why it goes back to test quickly, learn what's going on. Throw the app out there, run the ads. Is it working? Is it not working? What are people searching for? What am I not understanding? Iterate again, go make the changes, run the ads again, right?
What's Gumroad?
Gumroad is another like Shopify store, it's another e-commerce site. Most people like Gumroad just because it's so simple to set up, right? It's not as much heavy lifting as what Shopify requires. So that's why you have a lot of like between 14 and 17-year-olds who are very much interested in Gumroad. They use that more than anything else now. So, and again, you want to scale strategically, so find collaborations. Because I'm going to be doing that micro-influencer next year, why are collaborations a moneymaker?
Because you both get to build off of each other's personal.
That's right. Right, so if you do a certain thing and I do a certain thing, right? Like, hey, tell me about why you do what you do, and let me tell you why I do what I do, and we make a video together, what happens to our audience?
Yeah, doubles.
It doubles.
Well, it's exponential, really.
Right,
isn't it?
because now you
Venn
learn about what
diagram
he
gets
does,
bigger.
and you learn like what I do, and then you find out why are y'all even hanging out? And then you find out why we're hanging out is because we're part of this group. And they're like, well, I want to be a part of that group. It's a compounding effect, right?
Like
Yeah.
the Rizzler and the Costco guys.
Exactly. See? They bring the boom.
And doesn't it also like personify like you are like some people they just speak to the camera and then you're like, is anyone else watching this guy? And then when you see another person, they get on there, you're like, oh, so they are real and they're
Yeah.
interacting.
Yeah.
So you know what's interesting is like I meet a lot of parents who are so concerned about like, you know, I don't let my kids go out, I don't let them be by themselves, all these things, right? Does anybody understand like how the social media influencer world works when you are 16 years old? You are in LA all the time. All the time, right? And I'm like, where are the parents, right? And you come to find out that a lot of times the parents have to go on these trips, right? Because their kids are social media influencers who go and hang out with these other influencers, right? So their numbers just quadruple so fast, right? That's their business now, right? So their friends tell them like, hey, we're gonna be doing another meetup in Miami in 2 months, you need to be there, right? You're 16 years old, you're in high school, and you're like, hey mom, we have to be in Miami. Do you have a choice if you understand what your son or daughter is doing? No, you have to be there, right? Because their numbers are their business. So when I watch a lot of these stories, it's so interesting like how that ecosystem works, because they're like, no, there's a big influencer meetup. And then you find out what that big influencer meetup is, they're just going to the mall. But it's like 20 people who all have millions of followers, right? And you're like, mom, I have to be there because if I can get in one video with that one influencer, what happens to them? Exactly, right? They get brand deals, right? They get affiliate marketing, they get signed with an agency. That's what they're doing, right? You have no idea how many agencies just here in Austin alone work with influencers, right? And who are focused primarily on micro-influencers. If you can get a signed deal with an influencing agency, oh, you're obviously doing something good, right? It doesn't matter what it is you do, you're trying to get there. Any questions?
What about like with a creator like agency? I mean, I guess they're kind of similar, but they're like a smaller theater agency and they basically hire hosts to live stream on behalf of the brand.
Yep.
Yeah, so that'd be a good like start as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You know? So again, getting an agency is the equivalent of having virtual assistants, right? Because you have a team of people that help support you, right? So they will tell you, hey, this week I need you to produce this much content. You send it to them, right? You basically put it in a folder. Then their editors, their people on their team go in, take all that stuff, they clip it up, and then they go and they post it onto your socials, right? That's what an agency does for you, right? So now they help grow your brand, you know? It's like having assistants. That's the whole point. It's the same thing as what actors and actresses have been doing for decades, right, in Hollywood. So again, you know, that's where things are going, and that's why it's such a big industry. You know. Any questions before I go to the next one? So. All right. So.
Sorry.
Okay. Yes.
So like as far as like marketing the book as well, like how, like what is?
Before I say anything, what should she do?
Ask AI.
Ask AI. Okay.
Ask AI run ads.
Run ads, yeah.
Right? Like if you have your book already up on like a Shopify or a Gumroad or anything like that,
Yeah.
go connect it to a Google account, run ads real quick and see what happens, right? You need to see the analytics to see what people are searching, right? If it's not what you thought it was, go change the book, right? Or make it better, right?
And which AI? Which ones?
I mean, generally, I would just say go ask ChatGPT, right? Like, you just need a general understanding, like, hey, what did I not see here, right? You can take the analytics report that it gives you and just feed it to AI and be like, hey, this is what it gave me, tell me how to improve, right? That's a simple way to start things, right? If you're trying to go further and be like, hey, give me 3 different campaigns I can run and what markets I should target, right? That's a little more advanced stuff. And if you have the budget for that, go do it, right? So we're gonna kind of jump through this a little faster, because there are some things that I do want to show you, right? So again, just to keep in mind, like as you are traveling, you have logistics to deal with, right? Like you have health insurance, you have to deal with visa stuff. We have apps now for that. In fact, a lot of companies have reached out to me offering AI nomad services where like it will track your visa times, it will track your health insurance and all your stuff. It will build out your maps, so when you land in the city, it tells you where your medicine is to be picked up, or your hospitals, all your stuff. Jet setter guides, if you're trying to be that fancy person. Life hacks, obviously points, credit card points. Packing systems, right? We have AI tools now that will basically go in like, hey, I'm going to here, what do I need to plan for when I get at the gate? How should I pack my stuff? Things like that, you know. And then of course, if you get to a point where you can manage your virtual assistants and then they have everything kind of planned out for you, your travel assistant should already have everything booked out ready for you to go. They should send you an itinerary, here's everything you need, right? And then again, you'll eventually need a tool like Asana, Slack, something like that to communicate with your team, so that way they know what their daily tasks are going to be, right? And as you start to get used to that lifestyle, then you start to realize like, okay, this is how I slowly scale, right? If you're trying to do just apps, like for yourself, right? Like you might bring on 2 coding developers who are just like, hey, this one guy does the backend stuff, one guy does the cosmetic stuff. I go check in every now and then, right? Those kinds of examples, right? So in the guide that I'm about to give you, you'll kind of see like the case studies, all the little slides that I've already kind of gone through. I'll go into more detail with some of them, and then like a roadmap of like what to do after this event, right? So you can scan that and download the sheet. Yes?
What do you do about address? Because at the moment, I mean, I'm a few months in, I'm still using my last address, and I'm just realizing that anything I do online, it always requires your
Physical address.
Your physical address. Yeah. In this day and age.
I know, right?
I just make it up.
What's that?
I just make it up.
You make it up.
Yeah, I go Google like common addresses and then make it auto catch it. And that's it.
Yeah, I mean, like you could do something like that, like you could get a PO box that you always like are going to be around. Right?
Yeah.
You know, if you know like you have one set hub that you always travel through, like that might be your one address you use.
Do it in Delaware too, and then you check 2 boxes.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You have a business in Delaware.
So let's say that you did do like the virtual like brand ambassador or influencer route. Like let's say like you're a TikTok creator and a company wanted to send you products. Wouldn't there be like logistical issues if they wanted to send you products overseas?
So if you have an agency, like they're going to go through your agency, right? And then the agency will know where you are all the time because that's your agent, right?
Yeah.
So they will basically be your address at that point, right? That's why if you've ever seen the big influencers who are just like contact me and then you see the addresses, it goes to a management company, right? That's how they filter everything, right? So most of the stuff gets sent to them, and then if I'm in Bali or if I'm in London or if I'm somewhere else, the agency I work with, they will send it directly to that spot, right? That's how it all works.
The business practice there though is you really wouldn't start jet setting until you get, you know what I mean? You wouldn't be in Thailand with 5 followers, get your first 1,000 followers, and
Don't
start
ever do
calling
that.
people or
Don't do that,
massage them, you know.
Be careful.
Yeah, please don't do that.
Yeah.
You're asking for trouble.
Yeah.
You know, like wherever you're at now, build your audience here, like, you know, go around, do your stuff, right? And again, many people think like you have to talk to the screen. You do not have to talk to the screen, right? Like you can go do other kind of content stuff. That's why I give people like example, like go follow this person, go follow this person. See why they got to 100,000 followers so fast, right? You'd be surprised, some of the simplest content out there is not talking to a camera, right? How many times have you watched people just eat food, right? Right?
Mark.
See, she knows what I'm talking about. And we're laughing,
I
right?
couldn't imagine.
See? How many other times have you watched like these like ASMR videos where you're just like, oh, I just love the sound of what it makes, right? It helps me fall asleep, right? And all of a sudden like it's got millions of views. You're like, why is this a thing? You know? But you know what? They're making a lot of money. You know? Yeah. Again, the guy that does woodworking, right? Like all he did was set his camera up. He does his job. He time lapses the video. He uploads it. Hey, this is what I did, right?
My highest ones
Right.
are time lapses, and I'm not in them. It's just my hands sort of like drawing.
Yeah.
And like, it's a pain in the arse to do, but like you just need to remember to set it up.
Yeah, that's right.
Get the time lapse going. Yeah, people love to see things just.
That's right. Yeah, and in fact, in a few minutes, I'm going to be showing you some of the stuff that people have really done. And when you watch it, you're going to be like, "Oh, that's a little too old for me," but it's kind of cool. But you know, when I talk to artists really feel like they have a hard time getting their work out there. And I said, "This is what you should do. Just take a camera, set it up here, right? Have it film this, and just watch your hand draw, right? Time lapse it, right?" What can you do with that, right? I worked with an artist one time. He did a stencil drawing, right? And he said, "Well, what else can I do with that?" It's like, "Let me show you AI," right? So I took it and I animated it for him, right? And it did all the coloring and everything, and all of a sudden now he had a digital version of his drawing animated, right? And he was so blown away by it. I said, "Now what you need to do is just post it on YouTube, post the animated version at the very end, and now you have something to sell," right? It can be that easy sometimes. And for others, it's really about creativity, you know. So, again, it's all just like depending on like how you plan out your routines, you know. If you're gonna be a nomad, just realize like it's not easy in the beginning, right? If you're not used to like the traveling part. The parties, I will tell you, are a lot of fun. The free food is amazing, but that's my life, right? And again, you know, lean on the nomad community, right? Like there's a lot of people around you that will reach out. They will do all kinds of stuff for you, right? As you start to travel more, right, your network expands quite a bit. And I always tell people, like, when you travel more, what happens to your income? It skyrockets, right? Because your opportunities are endless, you know? When you limit yourself to one city, what happens to your network? It eventually plateaus, right? Like, you'll start to meet the same people over and over, right? So, always, like, schedule something into your yeah. Find something. And remember, Texas is so large that you can do day trips here. And you'll probably still be able to find a new place every single time, right? Who's been to McKinney Falls, right? It's a nice place, right? Who's been to Enchanted Rock, right? See? Hamilton Pool, see? There's a lot going on in just Texas, right?
That's just really Austin.
Yeah, you know? And for people who are passing through, it's like, man, this is so cool, right? You know, you have
Texas is about,
yeah.
oh my God,
you can travel
8 times the size of my country.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah, download the guide. You have your stuff. I do want to get to where is it? Yes. All right. Final journey. Yes. This is. I'm going to come back to this in a bit, but there are some things I do want to show you. Right. So I'm going to show you this thing about what Sora has done. Right. So everybody knows Wes Anderson. We're all good with this movie? Okay, perfect. All right, so he made Jurassic Park, right? Oh, I hope the sound works. Does the sound not work? Damn it.
there's
Sorry.
a bass somewhere on it.
Yeah, I don't know why there's no sound. But anyhow, this was basically made with AI, right? Yeah, there's no sound. Great, that's fantastic.
I can picture it in my head now.
Okay, yeah.
Elevator music.
So to give you perspective, right, this video was made 2 years ago. So we're dealing with around like ChatGPT 3.5, 4, right, around that sense. Again, these are still images that were just animated, and basically you're seeing a lot of what people are doing is how Wes Anderson makes movies. What would it look like if he made Aliens, right? Like what would it look like if he made this type of movie, right? And for some people it's really cool, right? But it got a lot of views. So if I go and look at like Wes Anderson and he did Alien, right? We've all seen the movie, but how does Wes Anderson do movies, right?
That's kind of funny, actually.
Yeah, see? It's a very certain type of color palette that he uses.
Looks scary.
Who here thinks you can make that today? Exactly.
Easily.
Easily. Right?
Better, actually, probably.
Oh, absolutely.
Not that I'm better, but AI's animation has gotten so much better.
All right, so now you've seen that. Now let's go to sort of today stuff, right?
You know the one that I've seen take off literally from like accidentally stumbling across it, and I think it was even on like my mom's YouTube.
Yeah.
Is the AI baby thing that's,
Okay,
have you
yeah.
seen that with the boomers? They love it, like
So, yeah, the
Joe
videos-
Biden baby, Trump baby,
Mhm.
they love it.
So if we go further, and then we have the AI parrot, right? So you have these, I wish I could show you what it sounds like. So basically, yeah, it sounds like a person talking, right? It looks real, right? And it looks like these people are real, but none of this is real, right? This is all Sora, right? If I go back, right, again, this is a Sora video, right? It has the watermark. It looks almost real, right? You know?
There was
And-
a load that came out with the Queen.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah,
there's a
it's-
lot
it's
of
that.
there's a lot of videos that have been going around, AI Sora videos, right? And again, it looks real, right? Like,
Oh my god. Oh yeah.
That one almost could look real.
but they look real, you know? So now that Sora is its own thing now, right, its own platform, this is what I tell people to do now is go out and make Sora, make your explainer videos, right? If you have a business, right, you don't need to spend lots of money on making videos anymore. You can go use Sora to make a good explainer video of what your business is, right? It's very quick. If you've ever used Sora, it takes about 2-3 minutes to make a whole video, right? You can go and plug in what your business does, and then also now you have a quick explainer video, right? It looks real, it looks authentic. You did not have to hire any cameramen, any editors, things like that, right? Stuff like that. Any questions off of that?
Are the algorithms still pushing the AI content? Because I remember like YouTube had switched, because people were making a lot of like AI content, and then basically they were like, no, you guys can't just automate all of, because you know there's a lot of marketing behind like YouTube AI automation and faceless videos, and then YouTube caught that, and they're like, no, we're gonna push more authentic videos where you're actually just speaking to the camera.
Yeah, so if it's shorts, the algorithm pushes shorts more than long form, right? If it's AI generated videos, then they try to put a disclaimer on it that this was entirely made with AI, right? But now everybody's using AI to sort of, those who use Sora and other tools, right, are pushing a lot of this content further, right? And they're using it now to even push news, fake news, right? If you saw, there was a mass shooting video that they pushed out there, it looked real, it happened, and all of a sudden it was like, none of that was real, right? And that's why I say AI generated videos is taking us into an area we've never been before, and it is kind of concerning, right? Because it's getting to a point where it's going to look extremely real, right?
Past dangerous.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
It seems like YouTube wanted to throttle those videos down, but those were getting all the engagement,
Yep.
so they kind of gave up, I think.
That's right, yeah, because again, what is the business model for YouTube, right? It's advertising money, right?
Well, and I think the bottom line business model is what's pushing it too, right?
Mhm.
It's the cost of production, all that the bigger businesses see. At the end of the day, I can make movies for nothing. 20 years
And that's
from now.
why the articles from like the New Yorker and the Hollywood Reporter have been showing like what's happening in Hollywood's production, right? What's gonna start taking place, because as Collider once said like 2 years ago, you're gonna eventually be able to point to your TV and say, I wanna watch this movie with these actors, with this plot story, with this joke every 5 minutes, and make it an hour and a half, and there it is, right?
I read an article they were saying that's gonna be video games too one day.
Yep, that's right.
You just create the game on command and then you play it.
That's right, yeah. And, well, actually, it's gonna be more like movies will become video games, right?
Yeah, I heard something like that too.
Because when I was telling somebody, it's like now you'll be able to go back to shows that you grew up watching, that many of the actors have passed away, and now you can make new episodes, right?
So
And so it's gonna happen, right? And right now, because Disney just signed that billion-dollar contract with OpenAI, now they're licensing all their character usage. That's gonna create all kinds of problems already, right? Because if you've never seen the Disney videos that people have already been making, which are very, very bad, right? Because now, so what are people gonna be doing with Darth Vader's character, right? Anything, right? So it's gonna happen, right? So, but who here has, and again, I wish I could show, who here has sound on your laptop, right? I mean, I'm just gonna show you this, because if you think this is cool, this will blow you away, right?
Oh yeah, I've seen a lot of these, the very modern songs and the,
What are they?
whatever you call that style, the 1920s style.
Like that.
Like
Frank
the-
Sinatra.
Yeah,
cigarette
like-
smoking.
Yeah,
Scene
so-
quartets.
Oh, like that.
Yeah, so there you go, like Soul's Blue version, right? I don't have sound, I wish I had sound. But basically what they're doing is they're taking the songs and they're turning them into other stuff, right? Like this one right here, Michael Jackson Billie Jean as a country, right? Country album cover.
That actually might be kind of.
And the thing is, look at the view count, right? Like the view counts are very, very high, right? If you look at Careless Whisper, this one right here, as a Motown soul song, right? Look at the view counts, right?
And they're beating the system because it's considered a remake.
Right, because you can't take this down, it's not breaking copyright law, it's completely different, right? And so the recording industry is up in arms about it, right? But I don't know what they can do really, right? But it's all AI generated, right? Like, and there's lots of channels now that have complete AI music on there, and you know what's crazy is, it's really good. It's
Yeah.
really, really good, and if I could play it for you like I would, I don't know why the sound is not working, right? Because I've watched and listened to some of this stuff, and sometimes I will put it on a loop, I'll put like 5, 6, and they're so good. Oh my god, they're so good, right?
There's also reaction videos to these as well, isn't there?
There are reaction
And
videos,
they get
yes.
a lot of views as
Yes.
well. But it's
Remaking
just-
a remake.
Is it still copyright if they use the same lyrics? I mean, they're using the same lyrics.
It's considered a remake.
Yeah, it's
so-
considered a remake, so it's completely fine. It's like when people, like there's guys on here that will go back and listen to all the Phil Collins music, right? Like they'll play the entire song and they're reacting to it. You can't take that down, right? It's a reaction video, right?
Kind of like a DJ. DJ still uses
Yeah,
parts of
yeah.
the song.
That's
That's
right.
how they
Yeah.
get away with it.
So again, the crazy thing I tell people about this stuff is you can go in there and do all kinds of things with AI, right? Like I've shown people how to build entire courses using content that's already been out there, right? It takes like 5 minutes when I show people, and yet you can make gobs of money with this stuff, right? And that's why I emphasize is like there's so many ways you can use AI now. That's just crazy, you know? It's like this one, like why is it so good? It's really good, you know, that's the crazy part. It's like even Backstreet Boys as a you know, Motown hit, right? Aerosmith Dream On, I don't know why they changed his image. And I really wish I could play, like that's not.
Yeah, it looks more like Johnny Depp.
Yeah, exactly.
It looks
Yeah.
like
Or James Franco.
Yeah, that's
But the other thing is like now you're starting to see made up movie trailers, right? That, you know, movies will never exist, but yet it looks real, right? I think it's like AI, movie trailer,
I do love me a good movie trailer.
right? Like this one right here, like AI generated movie trailer, right? Elvis Time Rider, you know?
I was gonna say where about 5 minutes ago I was gonna say where's AI Elvis? Surely.
Oh yeah,
You know,
yeah.
or he's
That's right, yeah. I mean, and that's the thing, like they're taking so many of these like famous
Tom
characters
Holland.
and going and do all that stuff, right? And now you have all kinds of AI movie trailers that are made. There's one for Terminator, there's one for like a TV series for Avatar, there's one for like a new Harry Potter thing. Oh, and that's right, that was the other thing I was gonna show you was AI ruined. right? There we go. So like, if you watch this right here, this is all, you know, somebody mixed AI in with this, right? Some parts are really bad, right? Other parts are just like, oh, that could kind of work, right? It is 1 year old, so, you know, try not to hate on it too much.
Sure.
It's actually hard to connect all the short AI generated animations like to where it actually looks, right?
Right, yeah.
Cause it kind of go rogue on you.
Of course, yeah.
It's kind of creepy realistic.
See what I mean?
That was good.
And again, they've done this for so many movies now, right? Like AI ruined Jurassic Park, and AI ruined Aliens, and AI, you know, like Avatar, and all these things. And you go home and watch some of these, and you're just like, man, how do I do that, right? And you find out, well, now you can use Sora to do that, you know.
Now with those kind of numbers though, like 39,000 subscribers, 800,000K,
Right.
they're not really pulling any kind of revenue, right?
So now we're gonna get into the whole like making money thing, right? It's how many views do you need to be in the creator program for YouTube?
Oh, it's like, I forget.
It's 100,000,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So if I put out a video that's all AI stuff, right, and my videos get 400,000, guess what? I got in the creator program. Now guess what? All my videos can be monetized, right? So what am I gonna start doing? I'm gonna start putting out AI slop because I want the views, right? And if I can get my number counts up, what can I do after that? Monetize, right? Now, what do some other people start to do with those numbers? They'll clear out their entire video history and they'll put in new videos. Why? Because I got the numbers, right? Like I have the numbers now, right? I have 2 million subscribers. I've already hit my 100,000 count. I'm in the creator program. I can put in the content I really want to put in.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Yes.
It's kind of interesting you say that. When this first became a thing, especially whenever all the YouTube people were like giving tutorials on how to get rich off making AI content,
Right.
I would just kind of look around and do stuff, and it was interesting because if I scrolled far enough back on the channel, it would usually change from AI to them selling shoes, or they were clearly like a Alibaba factory.
Yeah.
And it was wild. It was like the language would change, the whole YouTube channel would change if you just scrolled back 2 years.
That's right.
It'd be them showing their like, you know, factory, and you're like, whoa.
And that's why, like, it depends on how old the person is running the channel, right? Like, if they're in their teens still, they don't give a crap, like, what their content looks like, right? They're trying to get numbers, right? Because they'll eventually just change everything out, right? If I'm gonna run a video that's just trending and everybody's doing it, I'm gonna post that video, even though it has nothing to do with the past 10 videos I did, right? Because I need numbers, right? Because that's how YouTube thinks. So if I go in there and I do that over and over and over, well, guess what? Now I can run the videos I really wanted to do, because guess what? I'm gonna get numbers.
And even though you lose followers, you gain them back.
You're gonna gain them back, right? Like, I'm gonna go back here real quick. One of the biggest examples I have out there is this guy right here. If you look at his stuff, he is so methodical at how he runs his channel. To give you perspective, he was a graduate physics student at Stanford, right? And he told his professor, who was about to give him a lab and grants and all this stuff, I'm gonna go be a YouTuber. And his professor was like, okay, come on, get serious. Like, you're about to get a huge grant in a lab. He's like, no, I wanna go make videos, right? So, if we go back 4 years, I want you to tell me, how did he understand the algorithm? Can you tell me anything about his videos?
They're all color coded.
Very kid targeted.
Right.
With thumbnails.
So if you look at his numbers from like 2-3 years ago, yeah, right, you'll notice they're in the millions, right? And yes, if you understand child development psychology, children look for bright colored things. That's why when you go in the toy aisle of kids, everything is big and bright and colorful, right? So he went in there, and what else do you notice about his thumbnails?
Yeah, they're all reactionary.
Oh yeah.
Shocked.
Yeah.
Yes.
Makes you curious,
Yes.
kind of like.
Right.
Also like interacting with you like child cartoons,
That's right.
like Blues
Yeah.
Clues kind of stuff.
Anything else you notice?
A whole bunch of all caps.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah.
Right? There's no text really on any of this stuff,
Oh,
right?
right.
Except for this right here. Other than that, he does not put any text on his thumbnails, right? He is very, very clear about a lot of those things because he doesn't really want any distractions. So if we go back here now, let's go up. That's why it works, because he found how the algorithm pays attention to certain things and he cracked it. So now he owns like 5, 6 mansions. He has like, I don't know, 20, 30 like Lamborghini cars or something like the cars. And one of the things I tell people about why you do social media, did he pay for any of that stuff?
No.
How did he get away with that?
And a lot of time on his hands.
Yeah.
He made sure he filmed everything inside all those houses and in the cars and everything. Why?
Free advertising.
Nope.
Or not free.
Nope.
Authenticity?
Nope. This is a CPA answer.
Oh.
Product placement type.
Nope.
Tax.
Everything's a write-off.
Taxes.
Right? It's his
Oh.
business, right? He made sure to film stuff in his property, at his house, in his car. He did everything on those things because everything's a write-off. Right? He was very, very smart in how he ran his channel.
Wouldn't he already like automatically have a write-off? Because, I mean, they understand like, okay, the apartment's gonna be written off, or whatever he's driving is gonna be written off.
You can't write off just because you're driving a car though.
If you have 10,000 followers and you're just starting out, can you write things off?
No.
No, right?
Oh.
Like you don't have enough in your library history to show that yet, right?
Mm.
But if I go to this guy right here, right, Trubinsky, which is what I would consider my idol for Nomad stuff, right? This man right here, all he does is travel and shoot videos around the world, right? He's got 6 million subscribers now, and he tells amazing stories around the world as what I would call a digital nomad, right?
What's interesting is this is like the adult version of the same.
That's right,
thing as
exactly,
child
right?
life.
Because here, when he goes on a trip, he is writing everything off, the hotels, the camera crew, the equipment, the meals, all that stuff, right? Because every video is shot in a different place. It's all business. Right.
Those thumbnails are AI too, obviously.
Yeah.
A worried face, but less expression.
And one of my favorite videos that he has posted, and if you will please go watch it, I guarantee you will learn something interesting. Where is it? There it is.
McDonald's.
She cooks your leftover McDonald's for you.
Oh.
Into like different meals, right?
So this is why I like his videos, because he goes find stories, right? Because this is in a slum in Thailand, and he went into this community to find out what do these people do here for work, right? And many of them are so poor they actually go work in the city, come back, and they can barely afford to live there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she goes around and she collects all the leftover McDonald's food from the night before, the trash cans, and then she takes it, goes to her restaurant, cleans it up, reheats it, and then sells it. I know, right? I know. But it taught me so much about that culture, right? Because everyone who lived there, that was good eating.
Wow.
You know, happy and bird, hey, come on, you know?
Yeah. It's like street food to
Yeah, crescent moon sandwich.
Exactly, right? So anyhow, we're near the end, so yeah, that's how, this is what I do for people, right? Like, I show you AI use cases, I show you like how things work, right? Because again, as a remote worker, as a nomad, you're looking for all kinds of opportunities, right? AI does so many things that people forget it does so many things, right? Like, you work in your one industry, you forget it does everything else, right? Learning how to connect it, that's the magic, right? Any questions? Yes?
Yeah, it's kind of, yeah, it's a question. And even South Park kind of addressed this in one of their recent episodes.
Mm-hmm.
How do you get around like the ego stroking of an AI, especially if you're like alone, right? And you're asking AI, is this a plausible business plan? And it's like, oh yeah, you're a genius, wow, what a great question. Only to find out later it doesn't care or know what you're even asking.
Right, exactly.
Do you have any like?
Yes, I do actually. So there was a keynote talk by the CEO of SoftBank, And what he did was he would talk to AI and say, you're going to role play my competitors to make sure I understand what I need to be doing every day to tell me what I don't know, right? What are my competitors doing? Because it can research what they do based off of news, based off of stock quotes, all those things. And he said, you're to take on the personalities of my competitors, and you're to only talk to me as my competitors, so I understand what I need to be doing to stay ahead, right?
So is that character building for AI actually legit?
It
Where
works,
they tell you to
right?
like
But
how to
it's
create
not,
a character?
You're not necessarily stroking the ego of it. You're basically saying, I need you to go research who they are, find out what they know, right? Like it knows all their biographies, it knows where they went to school, it knows what they're doing, it knows what's going on based off the news, right? And it's going to assume their personalities and show you like, hey, this is what this company's doing, right? That's one of our direct competitors. Here's what we did, right? So when I talk to it, I'm not talking to it like it's nice, I'm talking to my competitor, right? So it's not going to be nice to me. It's not going to be friendly, right?
And say everything you do is perfect.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So you have to really understand, like,
Have you ever asked it
Yeah.
to roast you?
yeah.
That's try
Okay.
it.
Alright, I'm gonna fight it tonight then.
Yeah,
I'll
because
roast
again,
off.
you can go in there and say like, hey, I built this app right here. What other companies have built a similar app to me, and tell me what I did wrong, right? And show me the proof, right? You'll be surprised it will do that, right? Because you're limiting the scope. It's not searching everything, right? And that's where people mess up. That's why it hallucinates, right? If you limit the scope, it won't hallucinate, you know?
And is Bree pushing back on it good, or?
Yes, absolutely.
Until
Yes.
it like starts to go off? You know what I mean? I'll be like, well, you said this, but what about this? I'll be like, oh, you're right, I guess I didn't know what I was talking about.
Right.
Is
And
that good though?
yeah, push
Because
back on
sometimes
it.
eventually it'll get so like,
Convoluted.
yeah, it doesn't even
Yeah,
know
exactly,
anymore.
right? Like push back on it and be like, hey, you just said this, can you show me the proof for that, right? And can you give me a reference on it, you know, and then keep going and see what happens to it and see at what point does it change, right?
It's crazy, it'll
Yeah.
change, it'll
It will.
flip on you so fast, scares me.
My biggest annoyance is like, when it gives sometimes generic answers.
Right.
And sometimes I ask it to be, can you please be specific, give raw feedback. Or as an expert, you know, give raw feedback, and then it still gives me, and then I learned that I have to type in, sometimes it works, but sometimes I type in, okay, please give me the less, marketed information or the pages with less SEO. To find like basically, less, you know, cause if you ask it something like, you know, like if you ask it, okay, how do I build this, or can I build this on a lesser budget? It might recommend some generic things like Fiverr or Upwork. I'm like, I don't want to go to those. Everyone already knows that.
I heard
Give me the
Google
more like, you know, useful stuff.
And what do you say, less trafficked websites?
Yeah,
Something like that?
yes, something like that, like less, like ones with less marketing, because the over-marketed ones, those are the things that you already see on the first page of Google. So I want the ones like in the past.
Kind of force it to go deeper.
Yeah.
And again, I would even say go to Claude and be like, hey, how do I make this prompt better, right? Because now Claude has a sort of built-in prompt generator system, right? And you can be like, hey, am I asking the right prompt to get what I'm looking for, right? And can you clarify, right? Like sometimes it just needs clarification from you as to what you're trying to get, right? So, yeah. So, that's my QR code if you want to ask any further questions down the road. I also did include it in the guide as well, so if you want to use that, but yes.
What's this 15 minutes?
It's just to find out like if you have more questions, right? Like because there's so much I cover, right? Like it's one of those things where like, hey, can you go into more detail about that, right? Like I'm working on this, can you give me an idea about this, right? So some people book time with me and be like, hey, you know, I'd like to hire you out to do this. Otherwise, hey, I'm working on this, can you give feedback? Or sometimes it's just like, hey, do you know any other groups that talk about this in Austin, right? So, but yeah, it's a discovery call. So, and then after that, I have book recommendations, right? So I always bring stuff to kind of showcase what's out there. So I have this one right here, like the psychology of marketing, how to get people to click on your stuff, right? And you can take pictures later on. If you've never read this one right here, Some Future Day, how AI will change everything in our lives, right? This one's a really good book that just came out. Mastering AI, people seem to love this stuff. I was tying my shoes the other day and I had this book out and some person came up to me and was like, I just saw the bind of this cover, can I please read like the first chapter? I was like, okay. It tells you how popular AIs, right? And if you've never read this book, I would say please go read this book, Studying Online for Dummies, just because like it has a wealth of information and just like so many things you can sell with, right? If I was to ask you the top 5 sites to sell on, I'm sure you could probably list just one, right? So, but yeah. And then in next year, I will be hosting a paid mastermind group. This is a build class, right? It's not theory, so it's just building. And the reason why I'm doing that is because from everything you've seen today, building with AI is very different from just talking to AI, right? Like it's all theory based, like, hey, give me this, give me reviews. Sometimes building with AI shows you like a lot more than what it can do, right? Who here knows how to build physical products with AI? Right? So who knows how to build logistics supply chains with AI? Right. So again, things like that, it's a build class, right? So you're gonna come in and you're gonna learn how to build stuff. And that's something that's very different from just prompting. So that'll be starting out probably in January. So and then again, this is also included in the guide. This is the LinkedIn page for this program, which I did include at the beginning. So I know you came in late, but yeah, did you get the guide already?
Whatever QR code I just.
Okay, all right, yeah, okay, yeah. So this right here goes to the LinkedIn page, and then that you can keep up to date with, and you can also message me if you want to. So. Yes.
Any chance you can get back a couple of pages for the mastermind group?
Oh yeah.
I'm still on the Calendly.
Oh yeah, that's fine. Yeah, sorry, rushing too much.
I have a question as to, will all of this be changed, like when Web 3 comes around? Like things like SEO, like if we eventually talk or just like voice out what we were thinking, and then we're living like a 3D world or like our avatar, will websites matter, or like, you know, because all that investment towards a website, and then if we switch into another like basically new world of technology, then that will be old.
So if you're talking about Apple Vision, I mean, like, it's still going to pull from the internet, right? But everything will be augmented. And so eventually phones will get phased out, right? That's the whole plan behind what Sam Altman and Zuckerberg are basically pushing for right now. And augmented reality is where we're headed, right? So if you've ever seen Ron's Gone Wrong, or things like AI the movie, or Minority Report, if you've never played with Apple Vision, it's the coolest thing out there, right? Because everything's in your vision, right? Like you don't need to hold a phone anymore, right? Like I can just touch things, I can move stuff, I can interact with things. Having a phone is just, at that point, you're just like, this is stupid, you know?
Yeah.
So, I'm not sure, right? Like books like that will basically tell you like, yes, everything will be augmented. Because if I can just go home and just move stuff around and talk to AI and interact with it like it's Jarvis, yeah, you know.
Because like, wouldn't like websites? I mean, it's kind of a weird idea, but wouldn't like websites kind of be like the old books or new books? You know?
Yeah, pretty much, right? Like it's just everything's sort of indexed already with AI, right? Like that's why we're running out of data with AI. So it's kind of already, you know, there at a point where it needs more, right? Who's going to pay for that? Unfortunately, us, because that's how data centers are structured, right? So. I do have a feedback form. This is also going to go out to you on an email tomorrow, so I would appreciate feedback. If you don't want to fill it out now, it will go out to your emails as long as you signed up on Luma. You'll get the feedback link then, and then I would appreciate your feedback on what can I improve on, was it too much information, things like that. And if you leave a testimonial, I'll be very appreciative. And then as always, Merry Christmas, keep in touch. This is my LinkedIn, so if you want to connect on there. And then I will let you know what happens later on with this program. So if you need parking validated, I hope you did park on the street, but if you did park in the hotel, these are your discount tickets right here for that. And with that, that is the end of Nomad for 2025 class. So thank you so much. Yes, appreciate it.
Thank you, Chris.
Yes.
You know your shit. Not your shit, but you know your shit.
Yeah, so yeah, please go get on Sora and go build your numbers.
Yeah, great. There we go.
So how does this all end? Dystopia or utopia?
I mean, if you want to know, go read the book The Coming Wave, because it's not AI that's scary.
Oh, now
It's robotics. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's why I say go watch that movie Wrong's Gone Wrong. I mean, that's where everything's going. Like in that movie, like there are still phones, but most kids don't use phones in that movie. They'd rather have a robotic companion, right? So
And through that robot is how you communicate
it's
to
everything.
other people. I mean,
it's all that stuff, right? Oh, yeah, there you go. No, like so how the robot works is like it's like a companion to the child, right? Like it takes care of it, it watches it, it keeps it safe. It knows what its friends are, you know, and it can do social media posts.
that's right. Yeah. So you just say, call Chris, and it call Chris.
It's called, right. And there's like a little screen that pops up, and you have like a little live chat and video. And I think it's one of the coolest movies ever made for like showing where things are going with robotics and AI. Just very few people even know about that movie, right? And yet that movie came out like what, 3-4 years ago, right? And to me, it's one of my favorite Disney movies because it's just so accurate, right? Now, if you really want to get accurate, Wall-E is where we're headed, right? You know, so, but yeah, The Coming Wave.
Yes,
the coming Wave.
It's a
We're all
goal.
gonna get fat?
Yeah. Get your big goals.
Oh, heck no.
Exactly.
Our little feet, our little legs won't work anymore.
Just because like that's sort of like how things are going, right? Like if you saw like the robotics Olympics just like 3 months ago, it's crazy what they can do now, right? There was a robotics manufacturing conference, right, where robots can basically, you know, do heavy lifting things, right? It can touch stuff that we as humans cannot touch, right? So it tells you, right, like physical jobs, yes, those two are also in danger.
Is that why there's a big push for like wellness? It's like overwhelmingly, like I know like all of the women's like, you know, women's clubs, they're all pushing for wellness. All my friends are like, oh, I want to have like at home wellness business, like especially in like women's community. I'm just like, why?
Why? Because it's robot proof?
Yeah.
I think it's, I don't know, I guess because the more technology, the more you want to feel like, I don't know, touch with your inner self.
So
Right, you want to feel more human.
More
The
in
more
touch
we
with your-
dehumanize ourselves,
Yeah.
the more we want to reach out back to.
But everything is like wellness. I think.
Yeah.
But yet, we've never been more unwell.
I'm going to snap those quotes if I can.
Oh yeah, please.
Yeah.
And I will be out there if y'all want to talk more. I just have to clean up the room.
Sure.
Do you need any help?
No, I'm just gonna move everything to the table right here. So.
Okay.
Are you local? I know you're a nomad, Chris, but you seem to know a lot about Austin, right?
Well, I lived here for a long time.
Yeah.
So I know the culture very well, but I moved around, and in fact, I'm going to San Antonio right after this.
Right, okay.
Yes.
So do you know a good live music bar or anything?
Around here, or you mean like beside 6th Street? Or do you want something
wherever.
I mean, like, if you want to try 6th Street tonight,
6th Street.
6th Street is the music capital of Texas, right?
Right.
Which is just right next to us.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Wow.
It's just 1 block over.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
And did you have a business card?
Yes, I do. Yes. I have it out there.
Okay, I'll follow you out. Be in touch, yeah. And are there looters around here?
Just want to make sure everything is out. But like I'm doing